Hello and welcome to All the Pies. My name's Si. This is Curve, and this is the preview of Newcastle United's clash at the London Stadium tomorrow evening against West Ham. I mean, it's a stupid name, the London Stadium. There's fucking loads of stadiums in London. It should be called Upton Park. I miss things, Kev. I miss the 90s. I miss free school milk.
God, he scored so many goals.
Hello. I'm in a happy mood today.
It's quite the energetic intro, Si. Have you been having your prescriptional medication?
I've missed you, Kevin. That's what it is. I mean, I only saw you 2 days ago, but I missed you yesterday. We didn't have any communicadio, and I don't like it when we don't speak to each other every day. It's I feel lost.
Like, we are each other's only friends.
Yeah,
it's a sad existence.
It is. No, we've got Gaz as well.
Yeah. No, I've got some other friends, but you've got Gaz, and that's it.
Yeah. No, Gaz is your friend. Well, he was definitely a friend on Sunday.
He's my friend. He's my friend. I'm starting to think he probably likes us more than he likes. Yeah, I think he likes me more than he likes you now, actually, Si. Even though you've known him a lot of your years, it's just the vibes I get.
Well, I was going to say you definitely look like friends when we scored the first goal because obviously, for people who don't know, Kevin Gaz sit behind me. I sit in front of them. And obviously I got up when we scored and I turned around. You're like 9'12". I keep exaggerating your height. And Gaz is like, what, 3'4"? And you just had him like in the headlock. It was the funniest sight to behold.
It was just like, a fantastic day, wasn't it?
Our little Gaz. But yeah, before we get in with the video, obviously yesterday I had to do it myself because I've got to go to work to make money to pay bills. I had to do it myself, which I didn't enjoy. I really didn't enjoy it, Kevin. I like to have someone to bounce off. I don't like just talking on the screen. I mean, just how many times I say and I had something stuck in my teeth, which I was fiddling with my tongue the entire video. I didn't enjoy it.
Well, I did see you put disclaimers about those in perfect handwriting on the screen.
I did. Type, so I just wrote it out.
I thought it was a very good video, Si. I think you're doing yourself an injustice. I thought you did very, very well on a solo video, and I've just myself. Well, that's the way people speak, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're not journals here. We want it to be relaxed. We want to speak how we normally speak. And
little council state crumpets at war. Clumpets.
Exactly.
Sorry, not crumpets.
Crumpets.
You're a crumpet.
A crumpet. But no, it was very good, and I was gutted I couldn't be on it. Yeah, unfortunately, the bills don't pay themselves, and I did have work duties. But I'd much rather
what you should do, Kev, right? What you should do, right, is get yourself a spinal cord injury, right, and then let the NHS misdiagnose it, right, for a year and a half. So that you're primarily a cripple, and then you won't have to do these kind of tasks for money.
Is that the only other alternative?
You won't get to enjoy many aspects of life, and you'll probably have a lower life expectancy than the average. But you won't have to.
I'll be able to do videos.
Yeah, you'll be able to do videos. Like I do with my little sausage dog.
Well, if that's the only other alternative, I guess it'll have to be that then. Yeah.
Yeah. But before we get into the West Ham preview, do you want to, as you weren't here yesterday, do you want to give you a quick, a little couple of minutes recap on your views of the thrashing, destruction, demolishing, pounding, rattling, absolute arse rollicking of the Manchester Reds?
Do I? Of course I do. I mean, like that's been locked away since the cup final. It is there as well. But yeah, do you know what it is? The day was just a perfect day for football. It felt like a spring day. The summer's out. It wasn't the warmest, but I had that sort of feeling of like, oh, it's a good day to play football.
Perfect temperature for me. Not too hot for me sweaty man tits and me hairy back. Perfect temperature, honestly, perfect. Loved it.
And I think I turned around to yourself and Gaz beforehand, and I said, look at these are the days and these are the games.
You did.
Why we buy a season ticket.
Because
You
the
get your
atmosphere.
value.
Let's start off quickly with the atmosphere.
Well, the atmosphere was absolutely amazing from the very first minute. I had being underneath that giant surfer. Something felt like we were all as one, and there was going to be no getting on anybody's backs. It was just going to be.
You were controlling it though. Everyone who sits around us was all looking at you laughing because you were the only one who could reach the frigging thing.
I saw your little hands go.
What my little fat arms I couldn't reach.
And do you know what it is? I had to come home and watch the highlights a few times.
Me too.
I normally come away from the games with good memories and a good understanding of what's happened within the game and almost able to watch it tactically. I walked out of that game on such a high, and I was like, "What happened? I don't remember anything. Yeah. I don't remember what the goals looked like went in." And do you know what it is? I don't mind that. I don't mind that. That's why we go to football, so we can just be 100% in the moment. I mean, I was shouting at goalkeepers. I was shouting at referees. I was shouting at you. I was shouting at the blokes in front of us. I was just having the absolute time of my life. And I walked out there absolutely buzzing, no voice, just on a total high. And then
I looked at myself yesterday when I was on the road. I was like, "Geez, you can tell I've had a drink for the first time in ages. I was looked rough as fuck." Something before I forget, because I forgot to mention it yesterday. It really made us laugh. I don't know if you heard it. It was some of the blokes. I don't know who it was, but in front, Luke Shaw was taking a corner, and all I heard was, "Hurry up, man, you fat cunt!" Like, it just made us laugh. I was like, "These are like professional athletes." Like, blokes with tight fitting t-shirts. You went, "Hurry up, man, you fat cunt!" I was like, that was the atmosphere on Sunday. That was just it. It was just the Man U started with the cheer up Alan Shearer, and then they were just pretty much quiet after that, weren't they? The paint of you, but their support was terrible on Sunday.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they had nothing to cheer about, did they?
No.
We didn't give them a thing, and you know, I love it when I'm right, Simon. Right? Yeah. It's not often it happens, but I love it when I'm right.
Well, I'm going to do my score prediction today because you always get to go first. I'm going to do mine later on, but first.
Okay. Well, not just a score prediction. I said in the last video as well, if we can keep their sort of attack and emphasis down to small little bits, you know, we'll have a good day. Not only did we keep them down to small little bits, we kept them down to no bits, no bits whatsoever.
One shot on target to our 22.
And it was a piddly little. I mean, he could have picked it up with his bum cheeks. It was coming to them that slow. Not that he would have, because then that would have been a different type of show. Yeah. But yeah, it was amazing. When I got back, I did one of my favorite, and it's a bit sad. I did one of my favorite things to do when we beat teams, especially teams I'm not too mad about. Man U being one of them, and that's to watch the rival fan channels and watch alongs. Watch Goldbridge, Flying Pig, who if you haven't seen him, right, is actually tremendous. I shouldn't say this, but I've got two favorite people on YouTube from other channels. One is Oozing Expressions, because he's absolutely hilarious. His energy all the way through, and just some of the quips that he comes out with are hilarious. And Flying Pig is also really good because, for similar reasons, he's got really good energy and he's just naturally funny. Some of his insults towards his own teams are rather funny. Yeah. So check them out after this side, because they're worth watching.
Stop giving them airtime. What was this photo you wanted us to show before we get going with the thingy? So let's put it on screen now.
Oh yeah. So one of the lads at work called Abdul, absolutely sound as a pound lad. Only bad thing about him is he's a Man U fan, and nobody should do that. So we had a little bet because he was quite confident that Man U were going to win 2-1. I said 2-0. And whoever lost the bet had to wear the rival shirt for the day, and he has him picking up his prize. I thought it was quite apt that it had a number 7 on the Newcastle shirt after their big defeat. So yeah, he was a good sport about it, to be fair.
Is he on an FPL league?
He is. Aye.
Him and you aren't doing very well, he is.
No, we're not. What could he do? Aye.
So yeah, there's another little dig for Abdul. I don't know the guy, but yeah, sorry, 2 digs for you, mate.
He's a good lad, and he took it all in good spirit. But at least he got to wear a proper shirt for a day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, are you ready to move on with the preview of West Ham? Because I've got a little thing that we're going to start playing now to get in the mood. Are we ready? Are we ready for the preview?
Okay, let's go.
Okay, Conti. If you know, you know.
Ages ago,
If you know, you know.
I'm getting more of a hang of StreamYard now, how to use it. So expect more horrific memes picking on people.
One more, sorry. Go on. Again. One more.
Okay, then.
Okay, let's go.
I showed that to my daughter the other day. She was Chris. It just sent me a few. Some of them I just really can't show on here. She was only 11. I'm like, oh God, I've broke my child already. Humor is just not woke. So we'll put it that way. We'll put it that way. Leave it alone, and we'll move on. Right? Let's first of all, let's get to the injury news. Obviously, we only played 2 days ago. So Eddie Howe's presser was this morning. I listened to Razor's clip. You listened to the full thing, I believe, just before we went live. And as far as I'm aware, the only slight doubt is Willock. And Eddie Howe said he doesn't know because he hasn't spoken to him yet. When pressed by Razor, he's like, "Oh, are you just not wanting to give it away?" He went, "Generally, I haven't spoken to it. Give us a ring later and I'll tell you." So that's the only one.
That was pretty much it. I hope he is okay. If he has picked up a little bit of a knock, I'm just, we'll get to know more towards the end of the day. Or will Eddie use it as one of his little mind games that he sometimes does, where he doesn't say yes or no? Well, if he does pick up a knock and he does miss the game, that will be a big miss because he was everywhere the other day and he's really starting to hit the type of form that we saw when he first came on loan from Arsenal.
It's been tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Like, can't fault Joe Willock's effort, his talent. He's just, he's now that he's getting on the score sheet. I expect him to bag another few before the end of the season as well. I mean, everyone goes on about that spell he had at the end of the season before the takeover. Which was great, scoring goals, but then there was only him and Maxi really were only like attacking options because Wilson was injured. But I don't think it should be underestimated Joe Willock's part in keeping us from going down to the Championship. I don't think that can be underestimated whatsoever. I think he, when we look back over the annals of time, that will be regarded as he was the player that kept us in the Premier League. And maybe that would have dictated whether the takeover went through or not. Would it have went through in the Championship? Would Ashley have sold for the reduced fee that the Saudis would have expected to pay? So, yeah, Joe Willock for me is already a Toon legend. I love the way he goes, "Come on, you Maggies!" These little boys. He's just like, I look at him and it's like, yeah, he is a bear, isn't it? I keep forgetting my age. I'm like, I'm old enough to be his father. And I love him. I love Joe Willock. He's definitely undersung player for our team. Love the bones of the kid.
Along with all that as well, it worked out for everybody because him keeping up that season when he was on loan from Arsenal, he earned himself a permanent move, and there was a bit of to and fro, wasn't it? Didn't he consult his parents? His dad was very influential on his decision. And I think it was his dad that said, "Look, this could be a good start for you. You'll be getting first team football. It'll be good for help you to progress in his career." And then a few months later, the takeover happens, and all of a sudden, you're playing for the richest club in the world. And not just that, you're a young player and you can really embed yourself in that. So what probably his decision making when he came to Newcastle United probably would have been, a few seasons here, move on to, a top 4 club. Well,
or maybe he's going to move back to Arsenal.
Yeah, and look at what's happening now. He's the type of player you can see playing for us for many a season to come. If his
as I mentioned yesterday
when
I done the review, how his chest isn't absolutely knacking him because he was smashing that badge, wasn't he?
passion, isn't it?
Goal, like proper bash on his chest, like.
And it was a release because if anybody deserved a goal in that game, it was him, because he was in the correct positions, and he does this all the time. And Eddie Howe even talked about this. I think somebody asked him what he, did he see anything to Willock at half time, having a few good chances, and he said, yeah. All I said to him is that, look, you're getting in the good positions, you're getting in the right positions, keep getting into them. The goal will come, and it did, and it did.
Well, keeping on with the injury news, I googled West Ham injury news, and it came up with a West Ham page saying 3 crucial players out for Newcastle. I was thinking, do they know something we don't know? So I check it out. It's like Miggy. We all knew Miggy was out, and then they've put after Miggy, they've put former Bournemouth winger Ryan Fraser remains out with no return date. Like, he's fucking playing with the best, man. And the wild defender Emil Kraft is also ruled out. It's like, hasn't played all season. I hate clickbait like that. It's just absolute. And some of our fans do it as well, clickbait. And I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it one bit. And we certainly won't be doing it on this channel. But yeah,
no thumbnails of us going.
Well, maybe we'll have to just like, but like in a frisky way. On the matters, cowie face. So that's it as far as I can see. Willock's the only one that Eddie Howe was unsure of. West Ham looks like they're going to be lining up with exactly the same team that beat Southampton at the weekend in what was a crucial match for them. So yeah, is there anything else you want to add on the injuries? Have you saw anything regarding West Ham?
No, I'll be honest, I haven't really looked in depth. Is Paqueta out, or is Paqueta playing at the moment?
I don't know. I wish you would have asked this before the stream. I don't know. Go on your phone and have a check while I get while I just have a little diet soda break.
Diet soda. What you
I'm
having?
not going to mention the name of the brand, but all I'm saying, Kev, is if this was in the early 2000s, you'd be getting your top off for us, and I'd be having a diet soda break.
Aye. Well, I've got a no brand. Mine's just called Orangeade.
Oh, Shop Zone Pop. Have you found that on your phone? I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up now on the screen so we can move forward afterwards. Get this up while you have a little look. I'll just go ahead and continue talking while you're doing that. This is the form table. This is actually the form table for the league. We would be in 6th place. I can't speak. West Ham would be in 10th. So obviously we know Newcastle, but draw, loss, win. And then we've got West Ham, mixed bag, draw, loss, draw, win. So that is the form.
Yeah, there's no news on Paqueta.
No.
So we don't know the answer. I've got a feeling that he's probably okay.
Yeah.
So form, I mean, you know what I mean? We can look at the last 5 games that you normally do with form, but when it comes to Newcastle's form, you just need to look at the last 3, really, don't you? Because that'll tell you the story of the type of form that we're in. And unless you've been hiding under a rock, or you don't really understand football, you know that Newcastle, along with Arsenal, are the form team. Man City in there as well. They are the 3 teams at the moment you don't want to be playing.
Yeah.
Now, who was it I was speaking to? I think it was my dad I was speaking to. And, people have been looking at the sort of run of games coming up, all being away. Now, there's no easy games at this time of the season, is there? Because everybody's playing for something, especially down there at the bottom where West Ham find themselves, from about 12th place all the way down to 20th.
4 points between, I think it's 12th and relegation, 4 points.
Well, it's not just 4 points between that and relegation, that in 20th in the league. Now, more seasons you'll have a team that sort of like sinks to the bottom. I know Southampton sitting. Is it Southampton or Leicester?
Southampton.
Did Leicester not go bottom?
No, Southampton.
Southampton bottom, and then possibly Leicester. But
maybe
any 3 teams from 20th to 12th could be relegated. So
Yeah.
what that means there, you've got a chunk of 8 teams all fighting for their lives, Then after that, there's a chase for the top 4, and also a chase for the top 6 as well. Everybody's got something to play for at this time of the season.
No, Southampton bottom by 2 points, and they've played a game more than Leicester.
So yeah, it's starting to head towards dangerous territory for Southampton, isn't it?
Definitely.
But West Ham are not out of it at all, and they'll be looking at the home games as opportunities to try and pick up points. And don't get us wrong, they'll be looking at us now and going, "Oh, Newcastle don't fancy playing them at all." Just turning over Man United 2-0. But it's certainly no gimme for us this game. It's going to be a difficult game, and I think it's going to come down to how we start again. I think if we can get an early goal in this one, their heads will drop pretty quickly, and then it could be a little bit more of a it could be a little bit less difficult than sort of if it goes to 0-0 at half time, then they'll sort of start looking at the game and going, actually, can we scrape a win out of this one? So I sound like a broken record. I say it all the time. The start's important, but it is.
Well, looking at West Ham on paper, they shouldn't be where they are. Really, should they? They should be comfortably mid-table. But like I say, the bottom half of that table, there's only a handful of points that separates from below Chelsea down. There's only a handful of points that separates them. So, but yeah, I mean, they didn't really bolster their squad. I mean, they got Paqueta. I can't remember who else they got, but they also had European football to play, which is another, I think, warning to us that if we want to compete on 2 cup fronts, the league and Europe, whether that's Champions League or Europa, then we really need. I mean, our squad are playing out their skins. Do you know what I mean? They really shouldn't be third if you're looking at the squads. But we really need to bolster that squad, like.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. I think one of the reasons why West Ham sort of aren't in the top half of the table and scrapping down there is definitely because of some of the European games. But what I'll caveat that with is the competition that they're in isn't the Champions League. It can have an effect even with tiredness and stuff like that. But if you qualify for the Champions League, what it also does, it also bolsters your transfer budget for that particular summer. Whereas if you go into the Conference League or the Europa League, you're not going to be able to bolster with extra funds in the same way. So you can build up that squad to take into account these European nights. And with them qualifying for not the sorry, I'm being distracted by the bloody drone upstairs.
You can't hear it drilling upstairs. There you go.
Yeah, with them not
qualifying again, Kevin.
With them not qualifying for the Champions League, I think that's why, they made a couple of decent signings, but not enough signings to bolster out the squad to compete on all fronts. And if we qualify for either the Europa League or the Europa Conference, we might find ourselves in a similar position to that. Hopefully not down that bottom of the table, but in terms of, having those extra games, taking out the fitness of players and having to have a little bit more of a rotation rather than a solid team all the time. However, if we qualify in the top 4, I think actually that is an opportunity to use the extra fees to really spread out the squad so we can deal with those nights.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to move on and get the head-to-head for this is the last 10. Obviously, as we're mentioned each time, a lot of these was under the previous regime. So we've got 3 losses, 3 draws, and 4 wins. Although one of them, I've just noticed there, was in the Premier League Asia Trophy.
Oh, yeah, that fateful night.
Yeah. But under Howe, we've actually loss, was that one? No, he hadn't took over. No, sorry, I take that back. That was Bruce, wasn't it? August 2021. Yeah. Under how we've drew both home and away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So not an easy.
I remember the draw away. They were in really good form at that stage.
Yeah.
When we drew away with them, and I remember that point being a really good point.
Well, they had players performing like Jared Bowen, Antonio, Declan Rice. Yeah, and they seem to have gone quiet this season. Especially Bowen, he was a dream team regular for me last season.
Yeah, and Antonio as well.
Mm-hmm.
He used to make my FPL team quite often.
No, he did score against the last game, didn't he? Was it Antonio and Wilson? Did they both score?
I think so.
Can't remember.
You have to double check. Can't remember. But yeah, I look at this away game, and I look at that away game I was just talking about there now, and it's a completely different set of expectations. I think this time, as much as I remember that being a good point against a really good team, that probably better team than us at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Role reversal probably a little bit if we've got a point this time. Point away from home's a point away from home.
Yeah.
But you'd probably be saying actually I'd earmarked that game as one of the ones where we could get 3 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, it tells you, not that needs saying, it tells you how Newcastle United's fortunes have completely turned around in such a short period.
Mm-hmm.
And it also tells you that where we're heading now. We will start looking at teams like West Ham, like Brentford, even though they're playing really, really well, and teams like Aston Villa, who we've also got coming up away.
Just about to mention those 3 teams.
Yeah, we now look at them and earmark them as potential 3-pointers.
Yeah, where we are third in the league, yeah, we should definitely be looking at those games as winnable games, even on the road. So as you mentioned, tomorrow is the beginning of 3 away on the bounce. West Ham tomorrow, Brentford the weekend, and then Villa the following weekend. 6 points would be considered. 7 points would be considered really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just don't want to add any more defeats to our meager 3 defeats all season.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get us wrong. I don't want it to come across like we're applying a little bit of pressure or getting away with ourselves. But at the end of the day, if we lose any of those games, we're not going to come on here and go, "Oh shit, this is terrible. It needs to be," like we're a far way stretch from that. If we get beat, we get beat. That's football. That's what happens. But I think, like you rightfully said, we are rightfully in 3rd place because I think we've been the 3rd best team in this league this season. When I look at it, possibly closely followed by Manchester United. How are Tottenham in the top 4?
Speaking of which, they're not. They're there. So it is Newcastle 3rd on 50 points. Man United, Tottenham 4th on 50 points. Man United 5th on 50 points. So obviously it was weird last night watching Everton and sharing a keen goal, which was an absolute wicked goal.
It was a beast.
It was a cork. I love goals like that, just absolute smashers.
It's ones where the ball doesn't revolve, it just doesn't move. It just goes straight like that. There's no
hell of a strike
spin on it around.
And of course, how many times does it happen that a player gives away a penalty and then goes to redeem themselves? Do you know what I mean? And obviously, especially down to 10 men, I think Everton were outplayed Spurs, even when they're down to 10 men. And then obviously they both went down to 10 for the final few minutes. I don't want to talk about Everton and Spurs. But
I do want to talk about Spurs just a little bit, just to go on to the point I was saying before. How are they the 4th best team in the league when they're nowhere near being the 4th best team in the league? Right?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Man U are a better team than them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm take away the results and the points and stuff like that. And I know the league tells you this and whatever, but looking at them as a team, the way they play football, the unity, everything like that, Man U's better than them. Brighton are better than them.
No doubt.
Goes far to say Brentford were better than them.
Yeah.
Right? I'd say Liverpool are better than them.
It's because they've got Harry Kane. It is quite simply 22 goals this. I think it was because he was on 20. I think last night was his 22nd goal this season. Quite simply, they've got Harry Kane, and even when Son hasn't been on form, which he hasn't been this season, and yeah, they think Harry Kane can still get the goals.
And I see some fans, some Tottenham fans, like, and this has been right the way throughout the season, being foreman, and rightfully so, because sometimes they watch some garbage, mate.
Oh,
they really do. For the amount of money that's been spent on that team, and you know where they should be, they watch some garbage, so rightfully so. But this seems to happen like consistently throughout the season. Now, when I see Liverpool fans getting angry or Chelsea fans getting angry, that's kind of been resembled in where they are in the table as well. So, you know, Liverpool have had some bad spells. Chelsea have had some shocking spells, resulted in, you know, them sacking their manager twice in one season. About to move on to the third manager of the season, which is just so Todd Bowley, isn't it? But when you look at them and their fans are upset, it's reflected in where they are on the table. Whereas Tottenham somehow are sitting in fourth position.
Yeah,
and I just find it mad. Because
I don't think there will be. I don't think there will be though, because they have 2 games in hand on both. We have 2 games in hand, so do Man United on them, and I believe Brighton have 3 games in hand on them. So come the end of the season, I can't see Spurs being in the top 4.
Aye, which was what I was leading on. Now, so you've already answered the question I was going to pose to you, which was going to be: do you think they'll be there? Do you think they'll get through by the skin of the teeth, undeservedly so?
Don't. I can see them getting 6th. I can see it being obviously the top 2 the way they are, the top 3 the way they are. I think Man U have got too many games to play. I think we will secure that 3rd. I'm really confident about that. I think it will be Man U on 4th, Brighton on 5th, Spurs on 6th. That's my top 6.
Yeah,
that's my top 6 for the season.
I don't think it'll be a million miles away from that. Possibly, if I'm being entirely honest, maybe us 4th. Just because although Man U've got lots of games, they normally do pick it up again, don't they? They're going through a little bit of a barren spell at the moment, and they've shown throughout the season they have this little spell, but it doesn't last very long, and they do normally bounce back. Now they've got a tricky game tomorrow against Brentford, and Brentford aren't, a million miles out the way. I don't think they'll be in that conversation for the top 4. Maybe it's in the top 6, possibly.
Top 6, yeah.
So you're probably wanting Brentford to do another favour.
100%.
A few weeks ago, I might have said, a draw would be a good result for that one. But no, not now.
I've got Jensen, Pinnock and Tony in my dream team, so I definitely want Brentford to do a favour, 100%, yeah. So let's move on, Kev. Let's go with the predicted lineups. I think we're both probably going to agree here that both teams, West Ham obviously got to win. They don't seem to have any injuries. I think they'll play the same team they played against Southampton. And I think Newcastle, barring anything to do with Willock, I think we'll go with the same lineup. Maybe Joe Linton will come in for Willock if Willock has got any kind of issues, and they'll rejig a bit. But I'd expect Jacob Murphy to certainly not lose his place. I'd expect it was great also to see like Gordon and Wilson coming off the bench and having these players to bring off the bench as well. It was like a really strong bench. So yeah, I predict they're the same lineup completely. What about you?
Yeah, I do as well. And I'm glad you mentioned that about the depth in the bench, because it's a funny old game, isn't it, football? Because what we said in the cup final is that when Man U were bringing players off the bench compared to the players we were bringing off the bench, there was a bit of a gulf there. Well, since then we've got injuries, i.e. Almiron, right? Haven't signed anyone. There hasn't been a transfer window anymore.
And we seem
But
stronger.
yesterday, our bench seemed really strong.
That's because Jacob Murphy started.
You've hit the nail on the head. You've hit the nail on the head because all of a sudden you've got players who've worked their way into the team, right? I.e. Jacob Murphy, which makes that, Maxi, which makes that bench now look pretty strong, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So that is I just thought it was funny that because you know it's been something that everybody was saying. Oh, our bench looked really strong, didn't it? And I thought, well, that's because the people that we said was a bad bench are now playing in the first team and playing well,
playing out the skin.
And good to them. Good to them.
Yeah. So score predictions. I'm gonna go first this time. I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win, and I'm gonna go for Joe Willock again, and I'm also gonna go for Wilson off the bench again to get another goal, and I think Jared Bowen is going to score for them. 2-1.
I'm going to do 2-0 again. I'm going 2-0 again. As always, I'm going for Isaac to get a goal. I'm going to go for Warren Murphy to crown his good performances.
I would love. There's no one else in that team I would love to see score more right now than Jacob Murphy. Like nobody. There's nobody I would love to see get a goal more. Well, Nick Pope, that would be. I'd love that more. But Murphy.
Jason Tyndall.
Fucking. Did you see the wreck on the benches?
The wreck? No, I didn't know.
Did you not? Have you not seen it? There's loads of memes going around, like because it looked like the Madness cover. There's just Ten Hag, and then there was just all our backroom staff, just all on their feet against Ten Hag. Obviously, he was having to go with time wasting, and then Eddie Howe just stepped right up and went, "Are you fucking kidding? Look what he has been doing since minute one, man. He's right in his face." And then obviously you see Steve McLaren in the middle. He's got his big gaps on. He looks like a nana kicking off at a bingo, trying to hold people back. Have a look for the picture.
Well, my last thing's that Ten Hag always looks as though he's on E.
Yeah.
He always seems to be grinning like that. And I hadn't noticed it, and then when I looked back, I was like, "Oh God, he's a bit gurney. He's a bit gurney." So yeah,
but I love how our whole bench just jump up and like fucking what?
Apparently, I didn't see this, but it was mentioned in Eddie Howe's press conference. Apparently, Murphy was up to his wind up antics again,
Really?
something to do with a watch or something like that, looking over at benches and being like out of the away bench about time wasting or something like that. And even Eddie Howe says, "Well, I haven't seen it. As long as it was respectful and in good humour, that's fine." I was like, I can't imagine it would have been respectful.
I love Murphy for this. If I'm right, I think I've got Murphy in the thumbnail for this video. If I'm correct, doing a cheeky Murphy thing. I'm almost certain I've done the thumbnail with Murphy in.
Well, there's been a lot of getting. I don't know whether you noticed this as well. The goal for Willock. A lot of people thought it was Isaac that had scored it. I'd watched a couple of channels where they were like, "Oh, Isaac scored," and it was because Isaac went running off in the opposite direction to celebrate the goal. And the way he ran off as if you just scored a goal. You know what I mean? That kind of intensity. So a lot of people thought it was actually Isaac who had scored the goal, and it wasn't. It was.
I like how Bruno just celebrates wherever he stands. Just goes aka. It's mint. I love it. I love the team. I am absolutely in love with this team. And so hopefully, guys, tomorrow we can continue. We can make it 4 on the bounce. And we can get our first win of 3 away games on the trot tomorrow night. Please comment below with your score predictions. Who you think's going to score? Correct. First person to predict the correct scoreline and scorers will get a prize. Haven't got it yet. It will be. I promise you, I will put together a wicked prize. I will for the first person who does that. Hit the subscribe button. Free. Cost you not a penny. Really helps the channel. That apparently helps the algorithm of YouTube. All the big execs in Silicon Valley go, "Oh, we'll put their video up higher." So do that. Share it around. If you've got any other fellow Newcastle fans, you know, who might like our middle-aged patter, then please put them in touch. Yeah, and we will be back on Thursday with hopefully again big smiles on our faces as we bring you the preview of the West Ham game. So yeah, everyone, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Cheers, see you later.
Come on.